They say the Sahara is empty. That's usually the first mistake. People look at maps, see all that pale space, and assume nothing lives there. No trees, no rivers, no cities, so nothing watching, nothing waiting. But the Sahara has never been empty. It's just quiet. And according to the reports, quiet is how it listens. The story starts with a research team, 8 people in total. Scientists, security, and one local guide who didn't want to be there. They were sent out after satellites picked up something strange beneath the sand. A repeating signal, deep underground. Same pattern every 14 hours, like a pulse. Officially, they called it a geological anomaly. Unofficially, no one could explain why it moved. They set up camp in a shallow basin between dune ridges. A bad place to stop, according to the guide. She warned them, said the basin collected things. When they asked what she meant, she told them. Sound, heat, mistakes. They laughed it off. Most of them did. That first night, the desert went quiet in a way that made people uncomfortable. No wind, no insects, no distant animal calls, just stillness, the kind that makes you aware of your own breathing. One of the scientists, a geologist named Layla Heron, stepped outside of her tent after midnight. She said later that the ground felt wrong under her boots. Not shaking, just heavy, like it had noticed her. That's when she saw the water jug by the generator. The surface wasn't rippling from wind. It was trembling. Once, twice, again. Perfectly steady, like a heartbeat. They logged it as a microquake and told themselves that was enough. By morning, fear looked silly in daylight. They worked. Sensors went into the sand, equipment came online, data screamed in. One of the seismologists noticed the movement again. Not random, a loop. Something passing under the camp and then circling back. 2 kilometers away, closer than he liked. Later that day, they found a shape in the dunes. A wide basin where the sand formed a perfect circle. Smooth edge, slight dip in the center. No footprints, no wind pattern that could explain it. One of the scientists called it a collapsed chamber. The seismologist called it a turn, a rotation. Something big enough to coil beneath the surface. The guide stood apart and finally used the word the locals used for that region. Akal. When asked what it meant, she said, "The Eater." They brought out the drill on the second day. That's when things stopped pretending. The drill only went down about 20 meters before the sand began to fight back. The tone of the motor changed, the sensors spiked, and then the ground around the platform rose like something pushing up from beneath. The order to stop came too late. The sand liquefied, the stabilizers failed, and the entire drill rig dropped straight down into the earth and vanished. No explosion, no debris, just a sound one witness later described as a gulp. After that, one of the observers started filming again. The guide told him the desert doesn't reward curiosity. She said, it collects it. That night, the sensors picked up structured vibrations, grouped pulses, patterns. The seismologist said it wasn't random movement anymore. He said it was mapping them, listening through the ground. By dawn, they decided to leave, almost all of them. One last scan was ordered at the basin, just to confirm the data. They never finished it. According to the survivors' statements, the sand rose in a single moving swell, fast and smooth like something swimming beneath water. One of the observers fell while running back to the vehicle. The security officer grabbed his arm. The ground opened up. Not violently, politely. Both of them were gone in seconds. No blood, No remains. Just smooth sand where people had been standing. That was when the guide said, "It has your scent now." They fled. The thing followed. Not rushing. Certain. The lead vehicle bogged down in soft sand. The ground beneath it gave way. The truck slid under like it had been pulled into a drain. The radio cut out mid-scream. 6 people were left. They reached rock before sunset, a stony plateau where the sand thinned and the vibrations faded. For a while they thought they were safe. Then the sand began piling up against the rock. The thing was building a ramp. It didn't climb like an animal. It carried the desert with it until the stone stopped being a wall. They ran again, into a ravine. That was another mistake. The ceiling turned into sand. It didn't chase them inside. It buried the entrance instead. The survivors said it understood containment. They escaped through old tunnels beneath the rock and found its den. The drill rig was there, twisted metal, fabric, and smooth hollows in the sand shaped like bodies that had been pressed there and removed. Not eaten, erased. They ran until dawn, stone to stone, quiet to quiet. They reached a remote outpost built on rock over older sand pockets. The workers there knew the word Akal before the survivors finished speaking. That night, the ground beneath the outpost began to tremble. Stone this time. The thing had learned. The final report ends there. No official explanation was given. The expedition was erased from public record. The region was marked unstable and closed. But nomads still talk. They say some nights the dunes breathe. They say the sand shifts where no winds blow. And they say the Sahara doesn't hunt, it waits. Because once the ground learns your weight, it doesn't need to remember your name. If that story made the desert feel a little closer than it should, good. Because the world is full of places the map still calls empty. And not all of them stay that way once someone starts listening. If you want more stories like this, the ones passed around in whispers, the ones that don't always end clean, make sure you subscribe and come back again. There are plenty of places left where the ground still remembers what it swallowed. Good night.